So Sage Intacct is a multi-entity instance. So we can actually manage multiple legal entities all within the one instance. So you don't need to log out, log off, log into different systems or different logons. We can also consolidate those, and we can also accommodate multi-currency, multi-territory requirements. And we do have a live Awanda feed bringing in those exchange rates. Now, with this being a true cloud platform as well, we do get 4 releases a year, and everybody is always on the latest release. So new functionality you can adopt and choose to switch on and make use of as well. Now, we are a dimensional based system. So I've got an example dashboard on screen at the moment, and at the top, you can see I've got a number of blocks here. Now I've got my date being my first, but then I've got departments, locations, and projects, and these are all dimensions within the Sage Intacct platform. With having dimensions like this, we can really slice and dice the information for you. So for example, I am showing all departments at the moment, but if I wanted to see just what was posted to that electrical department on the details below, I can change that, hit apply. That's going to refresh all that data real time for me and just show me the information in relation to what has been posted to that department. So I'm just going to clear that and take me back to all the data being in. Now, with dashboards, we can have a number of different elements that we can include on. So I've got a financial report at the top, your P&L versus budget. I have some nice KPIs with my performance indicators clearly visibly showing whether it's a positive or negative result for the business. I've also got some charts, and with presentation of charts as well, if we don't like the way that they are presented with the chart style, we can actually change that chart style so you get the visibility of the data in a way that makes sense to yourself. Now, I've also got some more financial reports here. But if I scroll a little bit further down, we can also have a lot of different elements embedded into a dashboard. So I've got some custom navigation there. We also have some external links. So what I can actually do is embed any external internet link into my platform. I've just opened up the HSBC one. It's taken me straight to the HSBC Business Banking Logon page. Now we can also have outstanding approvals. They're very customizable as to what we can contain on a dashboard, and you can have as many dashboards as you want, and these can be shared amongst individuals. Now you can see here as well in the middle, I've got a chatter functionality. So we can actually communicate with each other from within the platform as well. And we can have the system send an email when a communication has been done. And with these reports, they are all drillable as well. So if we take this P&L by job, I could actually say, I want to have a look what made up that subcontractor costs for the Westfield shopping mall. If I click into the value, it's going to bring me up with the ledger transactions, and then I can drill even further into the source document. And then on that source document, I'll see all the details that have been added. And if there was an attachment, I'd even be able to get visibility to that. So I can see this was a journal entry and all the debits and credits that were posted and the analysis that was given on it. Now with that chatter functionality, you can see here, this is where I've already passed a message to my colleague, asking her to double check the retainage value of this, and that stores it against the actual transaction as well. Now, Sage Intacct is a role-based system, so you get the system locked down via permissions, which means that individuals can only see what you want them to be able to see or do what you want them to be able to do. With all reports, dashboards, the permissions, we can restrict it. So you're only giving people access to the essential things they need to do as part of their job, which provides that segregation of duties for you. Now we do have full help and support as well. So wherever you are within Intacct, you can get help on that page, and it'll take you to the help articles for that specific area, and you can actually search the entire knowledge base. We also have AI coming into the product. So we do actually have an interactive search help using artificial intelligence, where it's more of a communication element that you can actually type and ask it questions. Let's move on to a project dashboard. So I've got an example project performance dashboard here where I can see my snapshot high level information on my project performance for the month of December. Now down below that, I've also got a number of reports. So I've got my project overview, and on my project overview, I've got my active jobs listed down, and I can see the original contract value for my jobs, if there was any approved changes to that value, and what the revised contract total actually is. I can then see my budget and my estimate for the works to be completed, and providing my estimate gross profit and my profit margin on those. We can also track commitments within the platform. So any committed costs that you're expected to incur, we can include these in reporting as well. Then we can see what our total billings are, what our actual total costs are that have been incurred, and then we can see what the actual gross profit is. I've also got a couple of other analysis on here where we've got the percentage spend compared to the budgeted spend. So that's the actual spend compared to the budgeted spend. I've got my actual build compared to the contract value of what should have been billed, and then what my actual profit margin is based on the current billings and costs. And you can see here I've got a bit of conditional formatting on this profit margin column. So it kind of drawing me to maybe the ones that aren't performing so good. Now we can also present data in multiple different ways. So that is just a project overview sample, but if I just scroll down, that exact report I then have split by project manager. So I could potentially look and view which project manager is potentially performing better maybe than others and how they're comparing. I can also look at it by the type of project. So we've got retail, government, hospitality, and residential here. So it might be that certain sectors perform better. Now we also, as part of our construction offering, have advanced reporting capabilities. And with our construction, this is provided as standard as part of our package. The advanced reporting capabilities really allows you to get down to multi-level dimensional data, get down to that granular level. We can also have pivots. It allows you a lot of flexibility to really get that data how you want. And we can output the data in many different formats, including bringing these reports into Excel. And we can also schedule reports to run on a predefined basis, which can then automatically be ran. It can be stored in Intacct, stored on the cloud, or emailed directly from the system. When you take Sage Intacct, you will get a number of reports standard out of the box, and then we can build any day one reports for you. And then what we do as part of the training, you will actually be empowered to actually be able to write your own reports from this platform. Moving on to the projects now. So I've got my project inquiry grid here, and you can see those parent and child relationships coming through. And Barrett's Home has a good example that we can actually go down multiple different layers. The key is that one project, one entry on here must only have one parent when it's a child. This gives us the ability to report at any of these job levels. So we can report at the top job level with all the children underneath it, or we could even get down to that individual record. These inquiry grids as well can be filtered using these search boxes, and we can also manage these inquiry grids and create a new view, include new fields in them if we want different sort of data showing within these. Now let's go into the Westfield shopping mall. We'll take a look at the main project information. So this is containing all the basic information on this job. And we can give it classifications as to the type of job it is, whether the job is in progress or completed, so we can provide that status, and we can put a start and end date. We can also assign key contacts to a job, and then we can look at the scope and schedule. You can see we've got a number of fields here that we could enter if we wanted to, with actual start dates, scheduled completion dates, actual completion dates, etc. And then we can also record the default retention on the job and the dates that these come into effect. Now, on the additional information on a job, we can store an observed percentage to complete potentially. And if we've got any documents that we actually want to store and capture against a job, we can actually store them so they can be retrieved and seen from here as well. On the tasks, when your project is set up, it will let you add your tasks, and it will automatically pull in all those cost types that are associated with the tasks from the catalogue. Let's take a look at the concrete task for now. I'm just going to drill into this. So from this task here, we can see that the concrete task is actually dependent on another task being completed first. And if I go to this cost type tab, you can actually see all of the different elements that potentially are required for the concrete installation to be completed. Moving on to our estimates. So we do hold estimates against the jobs themselves, and we can have multiple estimates against a job, but you can only set one as that primary estimate. And then we can also have the estimates automatically post to your main budget as well. For commitments, we store and track commitments against the job. So we can see here a number of purchase orders and subcontractors that have been recorded against this specific job. And this grid's quite nice that we can see what the amount is, if there was any revisions and changes, what the revised amount is, how much has been invoiced, and whether any retention's been held, and then whether we've actually released any retention on these. If I go into this purchase order and just open this up, we can see all the information that was actually posted on this document. Now, if there was changes, we actually track all of them on the documentation as well. So if there was changes to this, we would see the change information with a link to that data. Another nice area is the primary document details. So we can see some really nice high-level information in relation to this. But as your purchase order goes through the workflow, there'll be related documents associated with it. So this gives us a link to all the different areas, so we can clearly see which purchase invoice was selected for this purchase order, and we could drill into that and view that detail as well. And if there was any retention releases or payments, we would get all that detail coming through. So it's really quick and easy to be able to go to an area and see everything that's associated with it. Let's take a look at the change management. I'm just going to go into a different area for this. But we can manage upstream and downstream change requests, variations. So let's take a look at a contract variation. So this variation is actually for the contract, where we've set it up for this project and what contract it is relating to and the effective date. We can have approvals embedded in the system, and this one has actually been approved. And in here we can see the details of what's actually been put through the system. So for this project, for the exterior, we've got some additional subcontract costs that we have requested. So we can see the price of 22k, but we've also got a markup for the actual contract, given a revised amount of that 26k. And we've also automatically then updated this estimate with this information. For downstream variations, purchasing or subcontracts, there is a number of ways to process things within the system. So I'm just giving you an example for now. But I'm just going to go into an existing document for this subcontract. So I'm going to see the details that was put here. If I go over to my more actions at the top, I can request a change and I want a subcontract change order. Because I'm doing it from the originating source, it already knows a lot of the data, so it's pre-populated a lot of the fields for me. I can then make my change and then I can post it quickly and simply from the system. Touching upon project contracts, so I'm going to go into this Westfield shopping mall again. Project contracts are really easily managed by pulling in existing tasks, which we can see the tasks down below. But just before I scroll down a bit further, we also can manage the type of contract and the type of billing that we're going to have on this contract. If I go down to my project contract lines, now we can quickly add more lines if required, but you can see here, we can see what lines are billable or potentially non-billable. And from this as well, we can see the retention percentage. We can make modifications to individual lines if required. So I can open up this pencil and take a look at this decorations line. So if it was billable, I can flag it to be billable. I can put the billing type in here and I can change that retention percentage if needed. Let's take a look at compliance, which is quite critical. So with compliance, we can store compliance records and lien waiver information. And we can add a copy to the information and we can set an expiry date. We can add the actual attachment of that record as well. We can then, if we look down the bottom here, we can actually set up to validate that documentation, either on the expiry date or simply by marking that we have received that documentation in the system. And then this allows us to control the AP payments where we can do nothing, return a warning, or stop the payment from being able to be completed. So an example of this, if I go to my area where I would run a payment run, I can actually see here all my outstanding payments that need to be made from the system. Now I've got a number of filters to bring back the relevant data if I wanted to streamline this list. Now you can see here I've got this supplier compliance column. And if I scroll down, you can see I have actually got a warning in some of these payments that are due. And this means that there is an issue with that compliance documentation for these suppliers. So potentially I would need to go and review because I've just got it flagged as a warning before I'm happy to proceed to do the payment. I also want to show you the retention, just a little bit around that. So I'm just going to go into this first draft record for a retention release. Now, when we're looking at creating a retention release on a contract, I come here and I could look and I can see all my outstanding retention and I can add what retentions I want to that. I can either select all or I can just simply select what I want, and I can use these filters to really streamline that data down for me. Once we've brought in the lines that we want to look at, I've got the Westfield Shopping Centre here. I can see the amount, what has been retained, if anything has been released, and what is remaining. I can then, if I wanted to, come in one by one, marking the amount I want to release. Or if I wanted to, I could come here and I could set my release percentage. So I'm going to set that to 50% for now, so you can see it actually doing a calculation. I'm just going to set that amount. So you can see the system is actually calculating the value based on that percentage. And then I could just release that retention up there. Finally, one more thing I want to show you in the platform is that we do have CVR reporting embedded in, or work in progress, whichever terminology you're more familiar with. Now I've got a number of projects here listed, and if I scroll across, I can see what my estimate cost to date is. I can see what my PM's cost to complete, contract value forecast is, but we also can hold what the finance department's cost at completion and contract value is, because sometimes the project management, the operations, and the financial values and estimates don't quite fully align. So we can actually hold and store both of these values. We can see what the actual costs are and what the earned revenue is. And basically what we're trying to do here is work out what the overbilling or underbilling amounts are on the project. And these basically can be recorded and stored monthly. So you can have multiple revisions as your project and jobs progress through. Now, there is so much I can show you regarding Intacct in general and our construction functionality, but we only have limited time today. So just wanted to give you a bit of a flavour into the product, and specifically some of that construction elements that Sage Intacct can accommodate for construction companies. Now, as I stated at the start, we do have an operational system, construction management, that you can look to utilise. And this is where your operational staff would sit. And the system is fully integrated into Sage Intacct, so the data will flow between the two systems for a seamless end-to-end offering. As there will be a divide with some companies already having operational systems in place, maybe like Procore and stuff, and some that could potentially benefit from having one that don't currently have one in place today. For the purpose of this webinar, I'm just going to introduce the product at a really high level over the next couple of slides. So firstly, Sage Construction Management has pre-construction capabilities. And with this, it's going to help you win that new business. So we can record and manage that contract and that lead management process and the details for that. We can load in your drawings and your specifications, and we do have estimating takeoff tools in the system. We can then manage the invitation to bid and the RFP type processes on those potential jobs. And we do have easy and secure collaboration with external teams. We also have integrations that we can look to utilize with products like DocuSign for sending out the documentations to get those electronic signatures as part of the bid process. Now, we also, once you're awarded a job, it moves into that project management phase. And this is where those operational personas are actually going to sit within this product and do everything from this product. And then construction management will feed that data into Sage Intacct financials. So with this, we can manage the projects, the contracts, and the change order process from within this platform. We can have scheduling and activity management in this platform. We've also got field productivity capabilities, and we have collaboration and document control. within here. And then we can also look and take it a step further with the quality control and safety on site for those jobs. Now, as we have the operational people living within this construction management platform, they won't necessarily need access to Sage Intacct, but they will still potentially want reports and information on their performance. So within construction management, it has its own project and financial insight. So we can still give you that 360-degree view of your projects. It's got streamlined operations and finance workflows with that integration between the two platforms. It does come with an extensive pre-built number of reports and dashboards out of the box, and it can have on-demand reporting and analysis tools with robust customization. So you still have control to view the data how you want to out of this platform. Now, with construction management, we do have that end-to-end integration. It's designed to obviously be the end-to-end suite for construction. But as this is a product that will be used on site, we do have dedicated mobile application for this platform. So you get anytime, anywhere access anyway with it being cloud and internet based, but you can easily access and complete activities on a mobile device. And then one thing that's really, really a good feature within this product is the Team Link portal. So external project team members or can access the data, but we also have that portal for customers, suppliers, subcontractors to be able to access their relevant documentation within the platform itself. So they can self-serve, so hopefully freeing up some more time. So hopefully I've given you a good flavour and an insight as what Sage Intacct has, and that we can truly encompass specific nuances that construction industry face that not all systems necessarily can accommodate. So why would you look at Sage Intacct? With being cloud-based and our functionality, we can help businesses scale their operations. With real-time data, we empower departments to make informed business decisions. We also enable users to be able to build their own reports to extract this data. This really helps companies drive profitability by making the right decisions. We can also help remove inefficiencies with systemized processes, can help automate processes and utilize artificial intelligence and machine learning to assist or help with mundane tasks. All in all, visibility will also help you manage your cash and will help drive your growth. After this session, if you would like to know more information about the product, you will receive a survey. Please complete the survey and request more information within it. A member of the team will then get in touch with you. Thank you for your time today. We hope you've found this really informative and useful.